Hey, this is Irene CBiz Media, Faith, Love, and Trends. Welcome. This is another 90-day recap here. 90 Day Fiance is a reality show that follows couples, one from the U.S., the other person from another country. We see their ups and downs. We see, on top of that, cultural boundaries, language barriers, and the fact they only have this 90-day deadline in order to get married so they can stay in the same country, all the legal ramifications. This is 90 Day Fiance. This spinoff is before the 90 days. All right, now let's get right back into Lisa and Daniel. He proposed to her as soon as she got into his country, but she has some issues, and she was supposed to discuss these issues before accepting any type of proposal, but caught off guard, she ends up, I can see the poor guy's on his knees. He says this whole African band and dancers out here for me, got a ring. I mean, I couldn't let the guy down and just be like, no, or maybe later, or, so I understand why she said yes, but she has a lot of explaining to do, Lucy. So they keep kissing, and he keeps, I think they're in the vehicle now on their way to the hotel, and his kisses just are like too much. Like, can he even just do a peck here and there? It's like he looks like he's licking, I don't know, he looks like an animal licking his meat or his meal. I dated someone that kissed similar to that. Lisa's like actually telling producers, I like this. No one's ever kissed me like this before. I think it's a bit much, and I would like him to stop doing this on camera. Could you at least blur it or something? I mean, the first couple times let me know, hey, this is weird, but to see it all the time, it's a bit off-putting. So she's letting us know he's very affectionate, obvious, he's a smooth talker, and he's like, hey, I'm so excited, let's tell Faith. And she's like, oh, no, not tonight, because she knows she promised her daughter Faith that she wouldn't accept the proposal right away. She's a notorious marrier. This would probably be her 5th marriage at this point. So she still has to set things right and tell him her situation, how she's been married to women, which is against his religious beliefs. All of these things. And she should have did that before she said yes. But again, she's thrown off. But she's not going to let that stop her from having a little fun. They're not down the altar. But they did do the proposal. She's ready to get straight to the honeymoon night. She gives him some nice gifts, even a ring, which looks like a perfect ring for marriage. Daniel seems very happy. Then she starts pulling out oils and condoms, and then he's like, you know what? I'm a bit tired. Let's do this tomorrow. So Lisa's feeling insecure. She's like, is it because I'm kind of older and saggy? Is he not feeling me now that I'm in person? I got to make this happen. I got to make him want me tonight. And he keeps saying, I'm tired. Daniel, he has a pretty nice body. Their bodies are definitely different. He does have looks like he works out a lot. Maybe he does a lot of work out, in his country. I don't know what kind of work that is, but his body's good. Sorry, Lisa, I'm not trying to make fun of your body, but it's true that his body's good. I'm not going to say anything about your body because, hey, no one's perfect. And I can't say mine is either. But anyway, she said she wants to do this. She wants it out of the way. It's been 21 years since she's been with a man. So she's really trying to push for this. She's giggling coming out of the bathroom, and he's just looking blank faced. And he's looking a little bit like, I'm not into this. She comes out in her lingerie. And he still doesn't even really look happy. He's like, I seriously just wanted to go to sleep. So she's like, well, can we cuddle? So she's trying to kiss him, and then she finally ends up cuddling with him. And he has a little grin on his face. So, I think she's being a little bit rash as far as being scared that he doesn't want her. But it's understandable because women are used to men just trying to jump your bones right away. It looks like many of these couples jumped each other's bones the first night. And she just got engaged, so she, I'm sure, is assuming that that's what he wants to do. The way he was licking her face, it feels like it's obvious that he would do that. But I can see how she's a little bit confused by him not doing that. Burkon and Laura. So Burkon saw all of her issues with her body as she went to the surgeon, and he showed her a lot of love and support afterwards. So of course they spent the night together, and Burkon says he's in the clouds. He's wasted with love. They were in the bed together more than once. Things happened multiple times. A little bit surprised. I thought he wasn't trying to do that so quickly, but it happened. And maybe part of the reason it happened was because he was trying to make her self-esteem go up. But honestly, I don't think that's the best way to make someone's self-esteem go up. There's other ways and probably better ways. I think if you have to do that to feel better about yourself, I mean, compliments are nice. He could have just complimented her, took her out on a nice night, showed her some affection. Why does it have to be, okay, we get in the bed and that proves that I am beautiful? It doesn't fully prove that. And it doesn't also prove that this is a good guy for you, that he really loves and respects you, because you can honestly sleep with anyone if you want to be honest here. So they said their chemistry was good, but as far as their preferences, it takes time. She says he's more vanilla, she's more spicy. He says, well, it's been 4 years since he's been with someone, and she lets us know he's blessed in that department. We see the whirling dervishes, yes, whirling dervishes in Turkey, and I'm going to try to put something up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is considered an Islam meditating dance, and one of my words, I don't know what I wrote. So one hand is up, it's like you're getting from God, and the other hand is down, it's like you're giving to the earth. I thought that was kind of cool. So they order some kebabs at this place after the show is on. It looks like a nice place. They spend quality time, so they start to talk, and I think she was asking him about his situation from living from one place to this place and moving. So then he finally ends up explaining his debt and that he's pretty much broke. She's like, how badly broke? She's like, I don't want you to have a heart attack, but it's like $50K. She's like, oh, and this money? He's like, no, in American money. So she didn't know. She considers it a big deal, even though he says it's not. She feels betrayed that he didn't say this before and sees it as a huge red flag. She says she's shocked. Okay, after you give it up, you find out this information. Maybe you should have slowed down a bit yourself, my friend. Anyway, some people, I guess, don't really care about that situation. But anyway, she said he came off as a protective provider to find out this information. Then he says that, he's in debt in this country, but if he leaves the country, does it really matter? So now she's like, are you trying to run away from your debts, and are you trying to use me to do it? I'm kind of concerned because that's what people were saying, that you may be using me for that. I don't even know if he got a chance to reassure her that he wasn't, but he let us know that he's been doing his best, trying to figure out what to do. He's been hustling, and he doesn't want to tell her everything because there's more, actually, guys. There's more, and he doesn't want to tell her what he does do for money when he can't find a job. So whatever he's doing for money sounds like it's either illegal or a little strange. Not sure what that is, but I want to find out. So Javon and Anna Lynn, they wake up after their honeymoon night. He's like, it's great to wake up to you, cuddle up to you, smelling your morning breath. Now, Javon, he's been pretty sweet to his wife, but he does kind of have a little bit of a snarky, sarcastic way about him. Though I can tell he loves her. I think that's just his personality. They said, hey, we really didn't get that much sleep. She said we made love. And the question was it good? And he was a little upset. She hesitated, and she was like, well, honestly, I was trying to ask him the same question. So she talks about this being a spicy country. She's being a spicy person and a spicy wife. And she says, as she takes him out, I think they're going out for a meal. She takes him out to this place. And she says she needs spice in her food. She has to have at least some chilies on the side of her plate. Javon's like, okay, I'll try this spicy food. He's hiding in very well, plain face, hiding the fact that he's burning up really bad. He says he doesn't want to look like a punk in front of his wife. It's kind of funny. She keeps challenging him, hey, you want some more? She probably knows he's burning up. He said, oh, this, he finally admits, I feel this is hitting me in my chest. I thought he was going to say, this is hitting me in my soul, because that could be how hot it really is. And she talks about possibly being pregnant from their first night together as husband and wife. And he's like, hey, that's a little bit fast. I went from all this spice to now we're talking about a baby. You think you could be pregnant from this first night? And he's like, well, I guess she asked if I was, well, how would you handle that? And he was like, well, I'll be here for the kid. Once the kid comes, I'll be around. She's like, well, what about all these years when you could have been around for me when it was just me? This kid is more important to you than I am. So he's like, oh, why is she flipping on me like this? She knows what I mean. He feels like he can't be 100% himself because she always has to kind of flip and turn things around and gets upset. So that's an issue that they have to delve into. So next up, he's trying to rest in bed. She's like, no, I need to get me this massage. I need to get my massage on. So he's like, why? Because I roughed you up too much last night or whatever. And she's like, yeah, that's part of it. She really just wants to get a massage. He wants to rest, but he's like, okay, I'll do this if you want to. If it'll calm the tension between us, we're going to kind of try to have a truce here and not really talk about all of this, deep stuff right now. Just enjoy our honeymoon. As far as massages go, he's like, I don't really like other people touching me, and I completely understand his feelings. I'm not a person that really does massages, but like he said, if it's your significant other, he's up for it. But if it's just like I'm at a massage place, I don't know how I feel about this. So as they're waiting and they go into the spa, he's like, oh, it looks really nice in here. And so as they're waiting for everything to be set up, he's like, well, do you go to the spa a lot? And she's like, well, did you say once a week? Something like that, right? So he was like, oh, I'm giving her $600 a month, and she's using that money to just do stuff like this. He's like, I probably could have been back in the country sooner because she was kind of complaining the fact that he wasn't there for her, but he'd be there for this kid. So he said, if I didn't have to give you $600 or better, he didn't say that directly to her. He kind of told us, I'd probably be in the country more. I probably been able to get to you sooner as you're upset about that. They kind of talk about the communication and the language and, hey, how are you going to talk to my mom when you go meet her? And she's like, well, I'm going to just kind of play it by ear. She's like, well, don't you want to kind of know the language and stuff and really put your best foot forward and talking with my family? Because I tried to do that with your siblings. And he's like, oh, yeah, concerning my siblings, you kind of overstepped when you called my sister at work and you were just kind of off and unhinged with her and she's in the middle of work. So I think you overstepped that. And then she said, well, you were talking with this other woman, so what do you expect? So he's like, you could have come to me and not try to come to other people like my family. And she said, well, you could have came to me and not come to this other woman. So she tit for tatted him, and she was not wrong in that. But also, it was true that she didn't want to talk to him and she blocked him. So he really couldn't talk to her, but he should have talked to a safer person and not an ex or someone he had feelings for previously. So that's bad on his part. He's trying to tit for tat her, but honestly, it's not the same thing. He says, you're a handful. He love you though, but you a handful. They were trying to figure out, she especially was at the long distance that was their issue, but they're still fighting while they're together, and even on their honeymoon, they're still fighting, so they got some things to figure out. Ziad and Emma, they go meet his friends, and she's still getting ready. After about an hour or so in the mirror, she's like, no, I actually need 2 hours in the mirror, but hey, let's do this. Let's go meet your friends. He's like, did you really have to take this long? she feels it's a step forward since she couldn't meet his family. At least she could meet his friends and she could kind of dig into his life there. So they kind of discussed with the friends that they had an instant connection online. After 10 minutes, he was calling her wifey. Then one of the guys brings up her outfit, which she is showing a lot of cleavage. She's been engaged to someone from a Muslim country, so why does she not think about this? Or she probably doesn't care. I would have probably had like a cover up or something on, but I don't know how hot it is there. I don't know all that information either. Still, so she did say, I asked him, what can I wear? He said anything, so she blames him. He says, this is a more conservative area. It depends. She said, I didn't realize it depended on where you went in the country that you had to dress this way or that way. And if that was the case, he probably should have told her that before they went to this place if it was supposed to be conservative there. Honestly, he could have told her that. Now, it took her 2 hours to get ready, but he could have asked her to put something, a cover up on or something sheer. They could just cover up the top area. I don't know what she would wear. Again, I think it's really hot and it might make it too hot, but hey, she has that wig on, so she's going to be hot anyway. Anyway, the friend says, oh, it's a misunderstanding. She's like, no, he lied to me. He's like, lied. He's like, well, she also lied. She lied about the fact that she was still in a relationship while she was talking to me online. They start to fight, and they kind of big fight a bit in front of the friends, probably even more than they did with each other. She said, well, I was talking to someone, you say that I was, but I wasn't with that person. But you are also on the apps talking to other girls and welcoming them to come to Morocco. He's like, oh, I'll just welcome them to my country. She's like, no, what if I just welcomed all these guys to come to LA? He's like, no, that's not the same. I'm proud of my country. The friend actually says he understands Emma's side. There's trust issues. She's like, see, your friend understands me. The friend might sweep her up. Who knows? He looks like he might be interested. She says her plan is to get engaged before this trip ends. And he's like, vehemently like, Zayed is like, no way. Shaking his head, 0%. And they translate that to her. She's like, what? You said 0% that you would marry me? And she was really upset by that. He says, I need more time. I need more time to really get to know who you are. These two really aren't starting on a good foot. I don't think this trip is going to end very well. So they have a lot to prove to each other. And part of their religious and cultural backgrounds is kind of an issue as far as how you present yourself, the type of things you do, your behavior. And then he is kind of flip-flopping as far as he's kind of being one way with her online, but in person, he's trying to represent his culture more. So it can be a bit confusing. He has to stay on the same page. They have to get on the same page together. So it's been a minute, but we're back to Rick and Trisha. After that 5-day ghosting she put on, he kind of messed around and totally did a 180 with another woman. So he still has that to tell her, but then some more issues comes up. He has to clear the air about that. As they're getting close, he's kind of like, not sure if I want to tell her because we have something kind of going good right now. Then there's this whole intimacy thing where he's like showing her this garbage bag he's going to have to put on the bed because of certain things that happened during their intimate time. He called it a splash pad. I think she was a bit insulted by that. I think he thought it was funny, but he actually said he needs to make sure this room stays good because he's had to pay fees or damage fees. This garbage bag, so-called, that he had on the floor and ended up on the bed actually was $50, so I'm not sure why it cost so much money for that. And did he get it in her country? So later on, something happens out of the blue where she gets her bike returned to her after the repairs are done, but it's not by the repair guy, it's by her ex's friend, and they start talking in her language. He wants to know what's up. He asked the friend had they seen each other, and he said about 4 months ago, so he's a little surprised it was so recent. And she said that she didn't lie about that situation. They argued a bit over a meal, and actually, no, they didn't go to the meal yet. They argued a bit, and she said she was scared to try to tell him the whole truth about the situation. So now they went to the meals for street food, and they're going to clear this up even further. He's confused and irritated and wants to know why she still was around her ex. And she said she just happened to see him at a restaurant. His family was there. She said hi, called him over. It's like, oh, you called him over, huh? She said they just talked. He thinks it's sketchy. And she admits that the something she didn't want to tell him is that he did try to get her back, but she said no. He texted her, and she's like, he's like, okay, well, let me see the phone. He wants to see the receipts. If he's gonna be that type of person in a relationship, I don't know if he has to see somebody's phone all the time. But she showed him the phone, and the dates match up, and she did not respond to his last call or text, so now he believes her. And Trisha's kind of upset that she has to go around and explain things to him 10 times, and he's still suspicious about her cheating. And she doesn't like the jealousy, the suspicion, the cheating. That's what her ex used to do. So she's wondering if Rick is that same guy. She doesn't know about the cheating yet, but I think she's on the right track. So Aviva and Stig. So they were intimate with each other, and Aviva feels that this has gotten them closer. Did they make a baby? Because they weren't using any protection. Another thought about making a baby, just like Anna and Javon making a baby kind of quickly. I don't know how many times these two were intimate, but Aviva and Stig, they kind of did things the first night as well. So we have a few couples that did some first night things here. She said it's kind of crazy and soon to think about it, but he says whatever is whatever. He'll go with the flow of whatever she wants to do. So now they head off to the studio. He introduces Aviva to his friends, his manager, the guys we saw earlier on, and says, hey, this is the love of my life. He's making a song for her. I have a feeling he takes many girls to the studios and makes a song for them. That's kind of his thing. The beginning of this song, he says, the sex is good, I can breed you. I'm sorry, that's just not a romantic song to me. I need something that's sweeter, romantic, more specific to me. This is something that you would say to any common woman that you might sleep with. So I wasn't really feeling the lyrics to this song, and I don't know if Aviva was either. She really didn't comment about the song. He seems nervous to me. It's not really fire. It doesn't sound that good, but they did put like auto-tune on it a bit, and it sounded better from the parts that I could hear. So he's supposed to be the star of Belize, but to me, his stuff wasn't not really fire. I don't know. The manager says he's kind of wary of Stig in his relationships because he mentions the ex from Texas, and he kind of lost his vibe. They couldn't get him in the studio for months. He was depressed after this relationship failed. Everything paused, and it was a tough breakup. So he's kind of leery, and he's hoping that Aviva doesn't do the same thing. He also lets Aviva know that he wanted a family with this young lady, and he's not fully over that relationship. So Aviva says she knew about the relationship and they bonded over their recent breakups together, but she did not know that he was trying to have a child with this other person. She feels that he lied and was misleading to her about that. So now they're going to get on this boat. I'm not sure if the boat is going to lead them to the venue, because I think he said he had a show. But whatever the case, they're getting on the boat. I think it's supposed to be romantic time for them. But she's acting upset, giving him the silent treatment, and he's like, what? What's going on? She says she's hesitant. She doesn't want to come off jealous, so she really doesn't want to tell him. But then she brings up the whole issue with the ex and wonders, when it comes to saying he wants to have babies with girls, is that something that he does with all of his women? And he said, honestly, I do that because that's why I date, to have babies and get married. She said he's a big charmer. Is he really a one-woman man? She's not sure if he is. And she said, "Are you a one-woman man?" He said, "I could do that." And by the way he said, "I could do that," she was put off by that, as if, hey, you've never even tried to do that. I could do it. It was a question mark. So she's seeing what Stig can really be all about. And what happened to people when I was in my 30s, I think they're in their 20s still. I think they're heading to I think she's only 26, but I think he may be near 30, if not 30 anyway. But I remember at that time when people were trying to get married, say, I want to get married, settle down. Now people are saying, I want to have a baby with you. That's not a good opener for me. Can we have some commitment first? This is just, for me, a bit much, having a baby with someone, but we can't commit to each other in a marriage situation. I just don't like the new vibe of today, but that's just what people do. And today, I'll say maybe 10 years ago for me, it was different. But if he was kind of wondering, did I get in over my head with this? Another lady that slept with the guy too soon and now is questioning, just like Laura's questioning Bergheim. And same thing with Rick and Trisha. Trisha's questioning Rick. Rick is questioning Trisha, even though Rick knows himself to be guilty. As far as I know, Forrest and Sheena are the only ones that haven't been intimate yet. It could be others. Hold on a second. Let me check. Okay, excuse me. So Lisa and Daniel haven't been intimate because he's too tired, but she'd be totally up for it. Javon and Annalyn, they're married, so they don't really count. Ziad and Emma, is his religious reasons. He doesn't even barely want to touch her. So that's the update when it comes to the intimacy. Forrest and Sheena, I'm not sure if they did anything or not, but they were talking more about it. They were talking about some kind of bear. I don't know what they were doing with that bear, but he called it the sex bear. I don't know. Then he said, should I bring my banana hammock underwear to go visit your parents? I'm sure he was joking. He says it's going to be frustrating to deal with these evil parents, but he's going to try to do his best to put his best foot forward and represent himself well, so then he can tell these parents that he's going to have to cut them off, that they're going to have to cut him off. So Mom and Dev are silent. They chill and let them go forward. They wish them well as they go on the trip. But, Mom's still kind of resentful. I say at least the producers will be there. He does want his mom to come to the next meeting. He wants her help and her opinion and her support, which is what he's always wanted. Her gut says he'll continue to keep her away from the parents and act like everything's fine. So to go meet the parents is a 2-hour bus trip and a tricycle. And it's not an easy trip. The bus is super cramped. And Sheena says we're going to arrange for a car for the parents because they probably won't even make it on this trip. Who knows? They may get lost to the point where we'll never see them again, which was kind of a funny joke, but probably real because we saw how they were at the airport. The whole tricycle thing, I'm like, they thought the bus was cramped. You guys are going to get on that tricycle thing together, and you both are somewhat large people. I don't see how this tricycle thing is going to work out. So they're kind of making plans on what they're going to say when he meets the folks. She said, be honest, talk about your purpose for being here, your career. And he lets us know that he is disabled. We knew he had autism. And he says he has trouble finding jobs because a lot of jobs he gets, he's not able to follow protocol and he has to keep making corrections. So he's not able to stay at many jobs. And he lives off his disability check. She tells him he needs to be a man and find a job. And he says, I will. I'll work hard for you. She's frustrated. She says he's never saved any money. She does all the work to help her family. And it feels like basically all the financial burdens are going to be on her. And there's a lot of pressure for her, even in this whole scenario of telling her parents this information. I don't think she should just tell him, hey, go get a job. It's not that simple when you have autism. And if he does get a job, I'm sure there's some jobs that he can get, but he has to assess what he can do. It doesn't sound like he's been sitting here his whole life, not ever working and doesn't know what he can do. He's made attempts and they have not worked. I'm sure that there is some things that he's capable of doing, maybe some more simplified things that he can do where he doesn't have to have so many steps in order to complete the process and have to keep doing corrections. And I'm sure he probably has to possibly go to a specialist or someone that is aware of this and knows how to work with him. And an autism-friendly workplace would probably be good for him. That type of thing is not always and easily to find. So I kind of don't like the way she approached that. And if they were talking about him working for so long, for so many years, and they made a plan, then I could understand. But if this is just her off rip, finally just saying, hey, you have to work, when this should have been a discussion they had online for these past 7 years. Why is all the pressure put on now? Hey, you really do have to work now and just get a job as if it's that easy, when it's not. That situation is not that easy to overcome and navigate, and that's why many people that are in that scenario are on disability. So I don't know how they're going to overcome this scenario, but it's kind of funny how he's talking about them taking all of the money when Sheena's now telling us he hasn't given any money. And being on disability, I know you don't get a lot of money. You don't really have a lot of extra money to work with either. So he's so upset about them taking all the money, but that money technically is her money then if he's not contributing anything. So I'm kind of confused about this whole setup that's going on, because I thought they had an account together and she took all his money. So where's all the confusion? I'm confused at this point when it comes to this financial part. Maybe that'll be cleared up when we meet the parents. I don't know. But that's it, guys. We are done with our assessment of 90 Day Fiance. Before the 90 days, interesting episode. A lot of bedroom talk, a lot of baby talk, and a little money, kind of some money talk for couples as well. So these are the main issues in relationships that can kind of mess people up when it comes to things in the bedroom, when it comes to the finances. This can make or break relationships. So we'll see as we go forward on this 90-day ride. Thoughts, comments, questions, email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. Check out my website at cbiztvmedia.com. And we'll talk again next time, guys. All the best. God bless.